Hey guys, it's Nikki with Delicate Tension Tarot. Yeah, so by the time you're watching this, you will realize that I did not do technically a last 2 weeks of November reading. My internet went out for a week. We had it for 3 days, and then now, as I'm filming this, it's November 19th. I came home last night to find out that our internet is out once again, and they can also not get here for a week. So I'm doing the best I can with what I have right now. And to be perfectly honest, I was moving through this retrograde period kind of, I don't want to say feeling untouchable, but feeling as if it wasn't going to be, that I wasn't going to really experience any setbacks. And I've been feeling very strange. I've had a lot of anxiety. I just feel weird. I've got a lot of emotions that I think are coming to the surface, and so I actually think it was kind of a godsend that the internet went out, because every time I was sitting down to do readings, I would get very frustrated, or I wouldn't feel as connected as I normally am. And that frustrates me as well, because that's what I'm here to facilitate, and I don't like it when I can't. So yeah, I'm doing the best I can right now, so I apologize for not having that. But I will say, with this reading, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of consider it a month window. So even though the title will say December 1st through the 15th, fuck it, I'm just going to call it November 15th through December 15th. So we'll give it a month window. That way whatever comes out can apply for the time period that's actually occurring right now, or the time period in the future. I really just want to start calling these timeless, because I feel like sometimes you just click on something, and when it's time for you to hear it, it's time for you to hear it, regardless of the date attached to it. I mean, time is fluid anyway, so yeah. This will be a reading for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or if you just have a lot of Aries placements in your chart. Always keep in mind this is a reading. This is just a reading. It's general. Although some things can sound very specific, I feel like it's very rare that everything is gonna apply to everybody. So you take what fits, leave what doesn't. Another thing I like to tell people is I'm just here to give advice. I'm not here to tell you what to do. You are a human being. You have free will. You make your own choices and decisions. And to be perfectly honest, anybody who would make a decision based off of what a reader has said, especially if it's a major life decision, you might want to rethink that, or at least, let me back up. I feel like the best way I can put this is that we are here to give clarification. We are not here to tell you what direction to go in your life. If you've been feeling like you need to go into a certain direction and you hear something that validates that or clarifies that, by all means, that is support. But if you haven't been feeling that way, and all of a sudden I'm talking about something and it makes you feel like you need to, go the other way, or that something's not going to work out, don't do that. I feel like people need to learn to trust their own instincts, and really all we're here for is to be people who clarify things for you guys, where we're touching base on ways that you feel, and we're either confirming that or we're going to tell you that you're just in over your head. So yeah, sorry, that's my ramble. I've been gone too long, so now I have too much to say. Let me tune in and see what it is that I see for you guys. I tried recording your reading 2 times already. The first 2 times the message was so beautiful, and I really hope that it comes up again. But even the way that the cards were laid out was a absolutely, pristine juxtaposition of what I was seeing for you guys. So we can only hope that it shows up again. Two overlapping things here. It's like a punch to the gut, punch to the chest. It's like the wind's being knocked out of me, or I feel like I'm going to be sick. And then I see an image of like somebody hitting a grand slam and getting a home run. So it's very like, the energies feel very jarring for you guys. I feel like you go from point A to point Z. So maybe in the first half of November, you were in the point A part, and maybe in the second half of November into December, you're going to be at point Z, which is the grand slam or the home run. Show me what's happening for Aries, please. It's too many. Thanks. Two of Swords. Five of Wands reversed. That's way too many cards. Okay. Hanged Man. Eight of Cups. Eight of Swords, right. Justice, beautiful. Okay, Two of Wands. And this was the first card you guys actually got in the original reading on the bottom of the deck. So Nine of Pentacles. I think you guys are feeling a lot better. If you're not, you will be feeling better. Nine of Pentacles is typically a card of having a sense of security within the self, if not in the physical world. So financially, with your job, within the home, within family matters, friendships, other interpersonal relationships, you just feel good. Now, I do feel like you're listening. I'm not going to say it like that. Let me back up. I just actually got corrected. Sorry. I feel like the reason why you're in that position is because you listen to your intuition. There we go. I wasn't going to say I feel like because now you're in that energy, your intuition is a little louder, but I actually feel like you got there due to your intuition. Two of Swords and Five of Wands in reverse down here. Now, I definitely feel like you've made a choice to no longer involve yourself in something, whether it's some form of drama, arguments, it's competition. Five of Wands to me just can be it's very petty, it's very schoolyard. It's almost like fighting for the sake of the thrill of fighting. You know, that energy can be very addictive. It can be, you know, when everybody's all like pumped up and they're ready to do something or ready to call somebody out on something, it's easier to get on board because the energy feels so heightened and it feels so alive. Just like anything else in life, when you have a group mentality, it's very easy to jump on board because you're being influenced by the energy of that group. It's quite contagious. So I do feel like, you know, I see solitary imagery here. So I do feel like that you have removed yourself from group settings or drama in order to really find the stillness within yourself to move forward and make certain decisions. Now, in the past, sorry, I'm still getting my morning coffee. In the past, we have I'm going to start this way over. We have the Ten of Wands moving into the Eight of Swords, moving into the Eight of Cups, moving into or being connected to the Two of Swords. It's really interesting because both of these cards, if you look at them, they indicate somebody moving. They're literally going uphill or going across a terrain. They're walking towards something, they're moving towards something. And this card that's in the center of that is someone being at a standstill or stuck. So I feel like in the beginning of this situation or this journey, you went from also this is very important that I just realized. You went from carrying these 10 wands, which to me can be lessons, experience, burdens. It is a heavy thing to carry. It might have even been your own personal choices or someone else's choices that you carried for them, or the ramifications of their choices. It's you going from this position where you're carrying all these things, right? It's creating more of a burden that actually feels heavy, to being in this position with just one wand, which you're moving from the 10 to the 1, and using that wand to emotionally, you're using that action, you're using that energy to actually help you emotionally distance yourself from things that just are no longer fitting for you. Now, with that being kind of flanking the 8 of Swords for me, you went from a period of carrying the burden, then feeling stuck for a moment because you felt like you could never let this go. You felt like you could never actually release yourself from the feelings of heaviness, or maybe overthinking your choices or overthinking things that you had said. You felt like you couldn't release yourself from that. You felt like almost as if something else had control over you in that experience, and it didn't. You had everything that you needed to free yourself from the situation, and I think that that's what you did. You freed yourself from the situation in order to move forward. I do think you're still a little bit stuck, but you're stuck in a different way. Because right on the other side we have the Hanged Man, which, you know, it is somebody who's attempting to gain wisdom, enlightenment, clarity, or simply observing the things in their environment to really understand them. So you're trying very hard to understand something. But I also think you're coming into it more awareness or understanding of just how things in life work, right? I don't know why I feel like I need to say that I feel like you're reflecting on the past, but I do feel like you're reflecting on the past, and with clarifiers, I'm sure that will come up. But it feels like you're reflecting on past situations to see, because they feel very similar. So either you're dealing with the same person in the same set of situations, or you're dealing with this repetitive issue that keeps coming up between you and other people. And it's almost like you're trying to see either when your justice will be served or when things are going to work out in your favor. You're waiting for it. This could also actually be you waiting on something court related. With justice and the 2 of Wands, it's very big in nature. It's almost as if you understand that there is some form of fate attached to this, or somebody's fate is in somebody else's hands. But it's like having to be really wise about this. So it could be you either being involved in a court case, or even just being involved in some form of a legal dispute or matter where you know that your input would tip the scales in a very certain way. I know that sounds confusing, and I apologize if you can hear the dumpster or the dump trucks outside. This is my life right now. I do think somebody is getting their justice, though. But I feel like you don't feel happy about that. And I don't... It's not... Okay, it's not about being happy about it. It's not about being vindictive. It's not about being... I don't know. You have to, at some point, really realize that whether we want to believe it or not, everything happens for a reason, right? Whether you want to attribute that to grand design or higher levels of some form of intelligence or energy, that's all up to you. But there is this cyclical nature to life. We see it in everything around us. We see it in nature. We see it in the nature of the cosmos. We see it in everything. This is just how things happen. Things do eventually get balanced out. So I don't want you to be worried about this unless you're worried about how it's going to directly affect the relationship between you and this person. Let's clarify the Two of Swords here. Ooh. Let's clarify the Five of Wands. She's going rogue, people. Okay. Wow. Have you gone rogue? Shit. Wow. Man, you know, even though I was saying that I felt like there was this really nice bounce back of your energy in the initial card pulls, because of how many reversals that I'm seeing, make sure you don't exist in this energy forever. Like the energy of going rogue or the energy of kind of just opting out. At some point you're going to have to revisit being in the upright energy. I really hope so, because these cards, when they're in their detriment, or when they're in this kind of negative aspect of energy, I don't want to say they can get a little vindictive, but maybe that's why you're thinking so deeply about how you actually feel about what's happening, because I think you're teetering this fine line of justice versus vengeance. And that's why I want to give the advice to you to not, you can utilize this energy here. I mean, these women can pack a punch when they're like this and they're negative. And I want you to be careful, because like I said, I really do feel like somebody's fate is in your hands, whether that is very specific and direct or inadvertently. What you do and the choices you make do matter, and I want you to make sure that whatever choice you are making, or whatever choice you will be making, is going to be one from a very solid place, and not from a place of just wanting someone to suffer or wanting someone to see something so bad. And I think a lot of times that's tied to the concept that for some people, they really do have to go through a lot of shit in life. And through those trials and tribulations, they either woke up to, you know, a higher aspect or understanding of themselves or the world around them. And it almost feels like that's what you want this person to experience. You want this person to experience what you've experienced, in terms of, you know, knowing that if they go through the really tough stuff, they'll come out the other side victorious. I'm not saying I don't believe that for this person, but I don't know. I don't know if it's the right way of going about it. Now, I do think you need to be disconnected from this individual or this group of people. I do think you need to get some downtime with yourself. I do think that you need some rest. You need to really distance yourself from this, because I do think at one point it was monopolizing your energy. And this isn't easy for you to do. I want to say that as well. This is not easy for you to do. This is very difficult for you to do, because there is a lot of emotions attached to this. There's a lot of unhappiness attached to this. There's a lot of worry. There's a lot of concern. There's a lot of fear and uncertainty. I mean, just in general, there's uncertainty. You are uncertain about what the future of this looks like. You are uncertain about the way that you feel about it. You're uncertain about if there's other people involved, about the other parties involved. You're uncertain about what's going to happen to them in the course of this. But I do see that you're going to be really emotionally stable when it comes down to it, in terms of the decision that needs to be made. You are either going to be emotionally stable, or you need to seek somebody out who is, so that they can help you balance out the reality of the situation and how you need to handle it. So if you're receiving some form of counsel, make sure that who you're dealing with is definitely respected within their position and does have quite the sound mind emotionally to know what emotions you need to put on the back burner and which ones you actually need to use to fuel the situation or the fire. Now, with the Two of Wands and Three of Wands, I think that you are going to shoot your shot, and I think you're going to wait and see how it plays out. You know, this is one of the few times where I'm sitting here and I'm like, to be determined. To be determined with this. I do feel like you're going to reach your personal moments of clarity. I think you are going to be coming out of the darkness with this. You probably will start feeling better once we move into Sagittarius, which I think is on November 22nd. And we're still going to be creeping through like the shadow period of Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, but personally I think the shadow period is worse than the actual thing. But that's for me. That's a personal thing. Everybody's experience is different. But yeah, I think this is going to get better when we start moving into the sign of Sagittarius, because I think you're going to be provided with the more wise aspects of your fellow fire sign cousin. I almost think it's like the bloodlust is going to be removed from your vision. So you're going to go from this place of, if you were feeling really fucking pissed off, you're going to cool down a little bit. We do have Mars moving into Scorpio until January of 2020, so hold on to your hats, people. I think that all depends on your personal placement of where your Mars is, but it's very intense. It's very, kind of can be a little bloodlusty. There's a lot of intensity there. There's a lot of depth. There's a lot of wanting to go below the surface. So be careful. I try to tell people, not necessarily play nice, play right. Like, do whatever moves you need to make, but just be very mindful about your actions and choices, because they do have ramifications. They all do. I'm not saying to overthink it to death, but if you're making big, big decisions, and think them over carefully. You're not helping somebody anymore. You're done with that. For now. Because like I said, I do feel like there tends to be a revisiting of this. Yeah, focus on you, focus on your finances, focus on getting your life balanced out and back in order after kind of removing this energy or experience from your life. Because like I said, I do feel like it took a lot from you. I feel like it consumed a lot of parts of your life. And maybe that's why, with this distance and with this kind of newfound freedom through this choice that you've made, maybe that is why there's a lot of anger. And maybe that's why I'm recommending that you really try to deal with how you're feeling inside, and not necessarily lash out of vengeance or bloodlust, or just, you know, really wanting someone to understand what it is that they've done. You can't make people see anything. Not just that, but we are all experiencing different realities at the same time. My perspective is not going to be the same as your perspective. The guy down the street, his perspective is not going to be anywhere near what our perspectives are. I think there are times where perspectives can align and we can understand each other. But as far as like really being in the perspective of the other person, you just can't. I mean, unless you have a fucking magical power to do so, you just can't. It's very, very difficult. And I think a lot of suffering comes from when we try to make people see something that they either are not ready to see or that they can't see. Everybody has their own walk, and you have to value that, and you have to value the part that you play in either being a part of their lives or what you were in their life at that time, or what you will be in the future. But this just feels very separate. You need to separate things right now. You need to really cut the cord. Things are going to work out in your favor. If you do this the right way, if you do this with the right intention, things are going to work out in your favor. But I really think that the core issue with this is it's about getting your balance back. It's about really figuring out how to make life work for you now, without the influence or the energy of this other person. Because it really is like day and night. I feel like when you take that moment to separate yourself and really observe not only what has happened, but what is happening, your feelings are going to go from uncertain to certain. You're just going to know that you made the right choice. I'm like, do I have time to do, let me see. Let me do a little clarifying message here. Do I have time for that? Immediately. So, you guys got sing even if your heart is breaking, and choose a natural solution when possible. Like I said. If you're afraid to make choices out of fear of where your energy is at, then just release and understand that things will happen naturally. There are always organic solutions when you just let it go. Let it morph and change into its own thing. And two, even if you are feeling a lot of emotions around this, that's another thing. Let it go. Do something to shift or change the energy in which you're experiencing that sadness. And it's, coming from my perspective, for sure, tell me to fuck off. I've totally done that to people when they tried to apply these like really sweet, quote unquote, spiritual solutions to my problems. And I just wanted to be in my pain and be like, fuck you, I want this pain. Like this is mine. Don't try to placate me or try to tell me that it's less than what it is. And that's not necessarily what I'm doing. I'm just saying that for the sake of your sanity right now, because of the way that I see you feeling, try to let it go. Try to do things to help you facilitate letting it go. Try to get it out. Because I think if it does get stuffed down in there, you're going to end up exploding. And we don't want that. Out of an Aries, you definitely don't want that. Which I think is why the whole bloodlust signal keeps coming up for me. Be very careful. Don't let that consume you. Because I keep seeing the word triggered for you guys, and I feel like you guys have been majorly fucking triggered this whole period. So be mindful of why you're making certain decisions. Make sure your intention's in the right place. Don't do it for vengeance aspects. Do it for truth. Thank you guys for joining me. This has been your reading for November 15th through December 15th. I am so sorry I was late. Life happens, and I just go with it when it does. I take it as a sign. Yeah, just take care of yourselves right now. If this did resonate with you, please like, share, subscribe, or comment down below. I do have a donation option available now in the description box as well, so you can, click that link if you feel. If not, it's totally fine. But yeah, I love you guys. Take care of yourselves, and happy holidays if you celebrate the holidays, or just happy whatever. Just be happy. Be happy. This has been a really intense time. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves.